We hear all this talk about central bank digital currencies, and ultimately it looks like we will be cashless at some point and be using this central bank digital currency. What are your thoughts regarding a cashless world and having to use a central bank digital currency?
Well, it's already happening. In China, you cannot take a taxi with money. You cannot buy an ice cream with Chinese money because nobody has any money. It's all on their phone. You have to have computer money already, and it's getting more and more that way. Every country in the world is working on computer money, including the U.S. And eventually, yes, all our money is going to be on the computer. Governments love that. They don't have to print it. They don't have to transport it. They don't have to, protect it. They love it. More important, Patrick, they can then know everything you do. They'll call you one day and say, you're drinking too much coffee this month. Cut down on the coffee. They love the control it will give them. I don't like it. I hope most of us don't like it. But unfortunately, that's the way things are going, and we will all have computer money eventually.
Yeah, that you've hit it on the head. That seems to be the concern of a lot of people, where a cashless world will seem to, or actually will, take away some freedoms, some liberties. And you have a concern with that as well.
Well, I don't want the government knowing everything I'm doing. I'm not doing anything that's a problem, but whatever I'm doing, as I said, they'll call you up and say you're drinking too much coffee. What business is it of theirs what I'm doing? They love to know what everybody's doing. Most of us don't particularly want other people snooping into whatever we're doing, even if we're doing simple things like reading magazines. Who cares? It's none of their business.
So, Jim, no matter how we paint the short future ahead, we're going to have both chaos and opportunities as well. And we're going to need stores of value to maintain and protect the value of our currency. What things would you label as a store of value, especially in case of a U.S. dollar demise, since much of the world holds U.S. dollars?
Something will replace the U.S. dollar. Something replaced the pound sterling. Something replaced the French franc. Something replaced the Spanish peseto, et cetera, et cetera. So something, the world will find something. It's better if the world finds it rather than if some government tries to dictate it. The only possibility I see at the moment is the Chinese renminbi, but as I said, that's not practical now either. I don't see a replacement at the moment. If there's a crisis soon, the world will be forced to do something. So it might try gold and silver. Many times in history, people have used gold and silver more than gold throughout history. But I've got my silver, I've got my gold. All of us peasants know that when something goes wrong, we want some silver over there in the closet, we want some gold under the bed. Politicians and bureaucrats say, forget it. Well, they can say that all they want, but us peasants, we've been around a long time, hundreds of thousands of years, and we know we better have some gold or some silver when things go wrong.
About gold and silver, do you see them coming back and having some sort of a role in global finance?
Well, I doubt it unless something happens very quickly and very suddenly. I don't think the U.S. dollar is going to blow up today or this year even. It's going in that direction. It could if we have a gigantic collapse in 3 months or a few months. Yes, of course, people may grab for gold or silver in desperation. I doubt it. The problem with the gold standard or the silver, it works. And politicians don't like it. It requires discipline and knowledge. Well, politicians don't want discipline. They don't want somebody making them not spend too much money. The gold standard has certainly been good at times. It's had its own failures. It's never lasted because politicians have always found a way to cheat and to trick people with the gold standard and the silver standard. But I don't think it'll come back unless, as I say, we're very desperate quickly.
With all these things we've talked about so far, the stimulus, money printing, and so on, do you expect the gold price and the silver price to see new record highs as long as the Fed continues to do what it's doing, printing money and monetize debt?
Yes, eventually I expect gold and silver to go back to new highs. Throughout history, when there's staggering amounts of money printing and debasing of money, government money, people have always fled to gold and silver. And I'm sure they will again in 2025, 2030, whenever the next disaster takes place.
And we do see a lot of people in cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin. I just want to know your thoughts about Bitcoin if you consider it a store of value.
I have never bought nor sold a cryptocurrency. There have been hundreds, many of them have disappeared, as you know, and gone to zero.
Before we continue, help us by smashing that YouTube like button and subscribe now to this channel. This shows the algorithm that you value the information, and it helps us spread this message. Sharing is caring. Please like and subscribe now. Thank you. And now, let's continue.
We don't read too much about them, but there are a few thousand of them now, apparently. I mean, sure, if people want to trade them, I don't see any reason not to, as trading vehicles, and some people have made a lot of money. I don't quite understand why, because if I trade cotton, I know that eventually I'm going to have a shirt. If I trade Microsoft, I know I've got a company behind those shares. If I trade cryptocurrency, I'm not sure what I have other than a trading item. But if people want to trade, that's fine. My view is that if they do become currencies, and the crypto people all say, oh, we're going to be the new currency, we're going to replace government money. If that ever starts happening, I'm sure that the governments will then say no. They will outlaw it or ban it or tax it. They'll do something, because governments do not like to lose their control. They do not like to lose their power. I can't imagine that if the U.S. ever said, okay, now this is money. This is the U.S. dollar, and if you want to spend money, this is how you do it. And I can't imagine the U.S. government would then say, but if you want to use something else, use something else. That's not the way governments think. That's not the way they work. I suspect that if they become real currencies, governments will take action.
Yeah, I know there were a whole bunch of bills put before Congress in the last year or two. So I definitely agree with you there. They are looking to start regulating it. But Jim, moving over to a green new world, governments are looking to go green with renewable energy. What commodities do you see getting a boost for renewable energies?
Well, it's already happening. Copper has made all-time highs because everyone now expects electric vehicles. Well, electric vehicles use several times as much copper as a normal vehicle because copper is used for electricity conduction. Silver, silver is very useful in electronics and in solar electricity. So silver will certainly have much more demand if we go that way, and it looks like we are. So some of the things that the world would need, or thinks we need, we think we need solar energy, we think we need electric cars. If we're going to have them, it's going to increase the demand for some things, copper, lithium, silver, a few things like that.
Do you think the world is ready to move off of their current ICE or internal combustion engines where we use gas and petrol, diesel, oil-based fuels? Do you think we're ready to move off of it and go into electric vehicle?
Well, it will take a while, first of all. I mean, even if we all said tomorrow we want it, we couldn't do it because where are we going to get the electricity for our cars? How are we going to do it? And there are millions of petrol vehicles on the road. So we couldn't do it tomorrow if we want to. I can't imagine anybody would say, oh, it's going to happen in a year or 2 or 5 even. So it will take a gradual process. You may know that at the beginning of the 20th century, there were many electric cars. In fact, Henry Ford's wife had an electric car and she didn't like his petrol cars. She loved her electric car. Well, I mean, there were electric cars, but eventually petrol cars took over and electric cars disappeared. Now they're coming back, and it looks like it's going the other way, but it will take a while. I wouldn't be selling my oil anytime soon because of electric cars.
Jim, have you had a chance to ride in the electric cars? We see so many of them here in Singapore.
I have ridden in one, not recently, it was a few years ago, but I mean, it was great, very quiet, very smooth, but I'm not rushing out to buy one. I might, but at the moment, no.
As the numbers for these electric vehicle rise, we're going to see more and more nickel being used. Nickel is a big part of the electric vehicle battery, and it is in much higher demand. Have you been keeping an eye on nickel lately?
Well, I keep an eye on nearly all commodities. I have some commodity ETFs, and so yes, I'm a little aware of what's going on. There's something, Rogers Metals ETF trades on the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, it's making new highs because things like nickel and copper and lead, they're all in great demand.
What to do in such a situation? Inform yourself and keep your financial education strong. We from the Compact Group offer our loyal subscribers a free educational portal with first-hand monetary, financial, and economic knowledge. Enter our invite-only Insider Club by clicking the link below. You will get access to first-class information far earlier than the rest. We have prepared a special deal for all our members where you can access a giant pool of Robert Kiyosaki's financial wisdom for just $1. To find out more, simply click the link below and join our Insider Club absolutely free. But there is more you can and should do. Build up several streams of income. More and more people realize that they have to take their future in their own hands, but they don't know how and where to start. We from Compact offer our Insider Club members unique opportunities. Strengthen your financial muscle and get the edge. Click the link below. Become part of our free Insider Club. No financial obligations. But there's one important thing you have to know. You have to become active. So do it now. Become active and see you on the other side.